Arsène WENGER. Thank you so much for joining us on Rwanda Television. Arsène, how does life feel like or look like for you after the managerial career?
It's busy, it's very busy even. And but of course, as you said, you have less stress of a competition and less maybe highs and lows. But overall, I think I enjoy to contribute in a different way to improve football, to try to improve football all over the world. And as long as I can influence and help, I'm happy. It took me a while to adapt, but now I think I got over it.
We know how demanding your position as a manager can be. People who know you or who have been, following you for the last couple of years, today you look more relaxed, even younger. Does it mean that the managerial position was that very hard to manage, or the pressure was quite high, so that today you feel more comfortable, more relaxed?
Well, you are automatically more relaxed, but as well, I would say usually when you're in my job, like I was before, people see you only when you are tensed, because at the moment of a game, it's where the concentration is at the maximum, and they don't see you during the week. And that's why people have as well that feeling. But it's right.
You have spent 22 years as Arsenal manager. It's been a successful spell, but the last couple of years, toward the end of your spell, it's been quite hard for you. It wasn't easy for you to cope with.
Well, I think people are quite harsh with the judgment at the end of my career at Arsenal, because I stopped in 2018, and 2016 we finished second in the league. 2017 we made, for the first year in 20 years, we did not qualify for the Champions League, but we made 75 points. For 1 point we did not qualify, and we won the cup against the winner of the championship, that was Chelsea. And 2018 we lost in the league final, in the semi-final of Europa League against Atletico Madrid, and we finished for the first time sixth in the league. So I believe that above that, I built the stadium, paid it back without any penny, and we managed to be 20 consecutive years in the top 4. So I feel that people are quite harsh, but that's their judgment, you have to accept that. Some people want to change, it's always in the modern society, is a difference between majority, silent majority, and the vibrant minority. But you have to accept that, it's part of a public job. And I said many times, what is important is what you have built, the values that you generate, what you leave behind you. And I left this club with a training center built, a stadium built, and a good team, and 50 million profit, so that allows people come after you to do a proper job and to do a good job, and that's what is important.
Some people think that your move from Highbury to the new stadium was the beginning of the end of your era. Things started to go tough and tougher. Is this right?
Yes, because we built the stadium, and we had to pay it back. And overall, I feel, a manager has an influence on style of play, on the results of a game. After, you have a second influence on the individual career of the player. And after, you have a third influence that I was lucky to be capable to do, is to the influence you have on a brand, on the structure, on the reputation of the club worldwide. And I think Arsenal is a club loved all over the world through its values as well, and that is something that matters to me really.
Now, today, when you look back at what has been the work you have done for Arsenal, what is your biggest legacy? I
would say what makes sport great, is try to push yourself individually as far as you can, and have a respect for the team play, and as well try to act with class, and conscious that when you're a football player you have a responsibility all over the world because you are a model, and so the way you behave has an influence. And overall I believe that we had always that desire at the club, the respect for tradition, but as well the desire to do things with a certain class. We did not always manage to do it, but we tried.
Now, let's talk about your new position at FIFA. Could you tell us, you are the chief in charge of the global football development. How does it feel like, occupying this position, of course, and what are your strategies today to make things work to the grassroots? Speaking of developing country especially.
My new project is, first of all, it took me much time to decide that, because I was always tempted to go into management again, but on the other hand, I thought maybe don't make one fight too many, and have an influence in a different way. I had offers, and at the end of the day I decided to contribute in a different way, and it is basically to educate people all over the world, give every boy who wants to play football a chance to develop as a player, not only to develop stars, but people just to enjoy to play the game with friends, and overall to help the countries, every MA, to reach their full potential. What is not the case at the moment. You know that today a World Cup is European teams and CONMEBOL teams are in the semi-final. You don't see African teams, you don't see Asian teams, no Oceania. So I believe that that has to be changed, and you have to give, I said this morning in the meeting that Europe is successful inside the clubs and with national teams, or with players from Africa, or with people from who have African roots and been educated in Europe. So why should Africa not be successful, And my target is to help continents like Africa to develop their full potential.
Could you tell us more about the online academy?
Yes, so I can tell you more about the online academy. It will have content that will educate coaches, that is for a football community, for public community as well, and where we have programs and contents of training sessions that will be filmed as well, and that can help coaches to make good training sessions, and we will be online. You can consult our programs, our training sessions, and that will be available for everybody.
Now, what kind of investment are needed for African football to take the next step?
I would say it's not massive. I would say they have to respect some basic things, that is identification of talent, creating good coaches. We have seen that in the rank 1 to 20 at FIFA, they have qualified coaches, and I would say they had top quality training sessions. And one thing that is important, put the best with the best. but there's a stimulation there that shows that when the best play with the best, they develop very well.
How can Africa today deal with the issues related to the management, the accountability regarding the leadership?
By developing the character of the players, I would say. Today maybe we live in an easier society, and maybe have to think again how can we develop the character, the strength to survive disappointment, the accountability, the reliability, and maybe we have to be creative on that front and create sessions again in football where people have to take charge of themselves and not only be assisted and supported.
Yeah, and what is your thought on the new World Cup format?
I would say it's very good, because I believe we go from 32 to 48 countries. You know, when you look at FIFA, 211 countries are associated with FIFA. 133 have never been at the World Cup. And to go to 48 countries will give more opportunities to the country to go. And as well, don't forget that football is only developed by the federations inside their country, and the federations have a better chance to go to the World Cup, will try to do something to develop their game inside the country. So it is an incitement that is very interesting.
During the session, the President of the Republic, President Paul Kagame, who has been one of your big supporters during your spell at Arsenal, his beloved club, as he said himself, he emphasized on the nexus between politics and football and even other sports. Do you agree that today time has come to see politics working together hand in hand with football leaders in the world?
But I think as well, you know, the time when I was educated as a player, sport, football and politics was two separate things. Today it's not possible anymore, even for the players. They have to intervene, they have to give their opinion, they have to participate, there are examples. And that's why I believe in the education of the players, we have to make them conscious of the importance of sport in a society, and their importance as well, their responsibility towards the society. And in the education we have to take that into account. And the support of the politicians is needed. Without that you go nowhere nowadays. You know, if you look well, we made a worldwide analysis of all the countries, and if you look well, basically it's down to education. And overall it's not down so much to money. It's down to education, educated coaches, organizing competition for at youth level, organizing the training program, and identify talents, you know. Once you get that right and you regroup the best players together, you have a good opportunity to do it. We have an adjusted program for every single country in the world. And we'll go into every single country and help them to adjust their program to their needs. And for example, here we are in Rwanda. In end of August, we'll go to the Federation of Rwanda, for the Football Federation, and show them the conclusion of our inquiry and what they need to do to develop their players.
Rwanda today is a partner with your former club, Arsenal, through Visit Rwanda. I mean, how do you think this partnership can be helpful, not only in developing the tourism, and of course, how can this partnership be helpful in terms of the development of our football?
Well, my understanding of that is, first of all, you know, I just come from a memorial, and This country is absolutely amazing because how quickly they recovered from that, how the wave they have made since this tragic history had happened. And Arsenal helps Rwanda to be known all over the world because Arsenal is a world brand. And so I would say visit Rwanda, yes, is a good opportunity for Rwanda to develop, to help them to develop as a country. And I think there's a special bond because I'm here now for 2 days and there are so many people loving Arsenal, you know, that I think this will strengthen the bond between the two countries, and overall, hopefully, it can help Rwanda to develop the tourism, and that many people will be keen to visit Rwanda.
How can Rwanda take advantage of this partnership to develop our football?
Well, it can help. Rwanda has an agreement as well with Paris Saint-Germain, you know.
Sure.
And so I believe it can help in our job and in football in general. You must always try to be in touch with the top level, you know. So it can have technical exchanges to see how people at Arsenal or at Paris Saint-Germain develop players and come back and apply the same methods in football. So that is something that is the most important. The most important is to be in touch with what is needed at the top level.
Do you think having a new president at CAF and, you know, having FIFA supporting the new leadership at the continental governing body, is this a new dawn? How can African football move with the new leadership toward the same goal, the same target, the same purpose?
Well, I would say that FIFA has the same responsibility with every country, you know, and with Africa in general and with Rwanda in particular. We can help them to technically, you know, we can help them because we have a knowledge at FIFA on the organizational level of the federations. We can help them as well financially to have a structure to build stadiums, to educate coaches. There is a material help, there is a technical help, and there is as well a knowledge help because we will create our academy online and we'll help Rwanda to educate their coaches and educate the educators of the coaches as well. So the help is multiple. It has to be action, you know, it's not only talks. And therefore we need the help as well of the countries. They have to try really to do something. I personally believe that in the modern sport, the federations have to take charge of a technical policy of the country. The schools are not equipped anymore to get the players to a level where you need to be. I've seen that in France, I've seen that in England. As long as we relied on school, it's not their job to develop football, you know. They are multidisciplinary. But to specialize people, you need a special knowledge, and that can only be developed by the federations.
Let's get back to what has been the subject of, you know, too much speculations. Recently, there was the division in the football world because of the Super League.
Yeah.
Some people think that time has come maybe for people to move on, to have something new. Speaking of the Super League, we had many people, many opinions. Can you tell us your take on the Super League?
Yes, of course I can, because I have nothing to hide on that front. I believe it's not the Super League in itself that was questioned. It was the way the Super League wanted to organize, you know. And I'm convinced that sport should allow the dream to everybody. That means if us two go tomorrow into a club, we have to be entitled, if we work well, if we have good results, to play at the top. And you're not at the top by right, but you are at the top because of your performances on the football pitch. The Super League ignored that. That's why from the first day I said it will never work in Europe, you know, because it has no link with the results on the pitch and the access to the elite. And it would have had two consequences. Teams would have been there by right, not through their results, and the second would have destroyed the domestic league. Because no matter where you stand in a domestic league, you are in the Super League. So that would have destroyed the whole pyramidal build of our game.
Maybe let's finish by what has been your time as a Arsenal manager. What do you miss the most during your time?
Well, what do I miss the most is that team energy to go together to achieve something, and the contentment of having done things well and won the game and go home and feel you have made people happy, and the energy to share emotions with people, you know, and the intensity of that all. And overall, I must say I loved so much my job. You know, if happiness is to lead the life you have, if to love the life you have, I would say I've been happy in my job because I loved every minute of it. And I did that without interruption for 36 years at the top level. So you cannot say you do that for such a long time and you don't miss it. It would be stupid. But overall, I'm now focused on doing something different, and I want to do that something different as well as I can do it, you know. And I would say I'm a guy who has certainly many flaws, but when I do something, I try to do it well, and I give myself a challenge, and I want to do as well as I can.
If you could turn back the time, is there something that you could do differently?
You know, you ask me if I have regrets, you know, and I must say, if the regret is the distance between what happened and what I would have loved to happen, I have plenty of regrets. If the regret is to feel guilty because I didn't do this or didn't do that, I would say no, because at the moment I made the decisions, I thought it was the right way and the honest way to do it. But on the other hand, I regret every mistake I made. But when you make 10 decisions per hour, it's an opportunity that some of them are wrong.
Yeah. Since you left the club in 2018, we haven't seen you back at the stadium.
Not because I thought at the start it was better not to show my presence there, and to take a complete distance, not to be a kind of pressure on people who work there. That's what the club wanted as well, you know, so I respected that. And since I have lost two things, I've lost contact with the club, and there was a pandemic as well, where, you know, for 1.5 years basically now, where you couldn't go.
Arsène Wenger, if there is something that you really want to see happen in football tomorrow, even after you, what would you like to leave?
What I would like to leave is that I would say that we don't produce enough good players in the world, basically. And that provokes an inflation that is ruining a little bit the game now. So I would say what I would like to leave is that football is a worldwide sport where every country has developed to their full potential, that in the game we organize better competitions more frequently and only top-level competitions, you know, and that football continues to develop. That's my main target, because it's a fantastic sport that is absolutely admired worldwide, and I would like that not only to continue but to develop.
Arsène Wenger, thank you so much for being with us on RwandaTV.
Thank you very much.